So we doing a top 5 NBA city uniforms for 2021. There's a lot of trash and there's a lot of cash, and we're going to see which ones are the best.
My honorable mention is Phoenix Suns. I really like the pixelated heat wave going through the black jersey. It's bright, it's colorful, it's unique. The one thing holding it out of my top 5 is the font of the Valley. I really like it when teams use their nicknames on special edition jerseys, but something about the italicized slant going through a very square, digital, pixelated pattern just looks a little out of place to me.
I'll go next with my honorable mention here. I'm going to go with the Miami Heat. There's moments where I think it's absolute fire because I like the previous Vice jerseys. The thing is like, it looks like a Trix yogurt container, and I can't look past that. Like, they just need to choose. Is it pink? Is it blue?
I completely agree. I don't think it's top 5, but they definitely deserve to be talked about for creativity. The gradient looks a little off center, and I get why, because Miami has 5 letters, and it's also to the right side of the shirt, and the number is then off center to the left. So it makes sense, but for whatever reason, when I'm looking at the back of the jersey, it's a little offset.
All right, my number 5 is a bit of a biased pick. It's going to be the Dallas Mavericks, my favorite team in the NBA. I really like the improvements they made from last year's Cities jerseys, which looked like absolute trash that some kid made in Microsoft PowerPoint with word art. I really like the wings on the sides of the jerseys. The gold lettering looks really smooth. I know it's not the Mavericks colors. If there was one thing I would change, I would update the colors on the text to be blue instead of gold. And I'm looking forward to seeing Luka and the Mavs be playing in those uniforms this year.
My number 5 is, I'm also expecting to catch a little bit of heat for this, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, is New Orleans.
Oh.
New Orleans is, I think, one of the best executions of symbolisms. When you look at all of these jerseys side by side, it's so easy to pick out New Orleans. I love the fleur-de-lis. It's actually just the New Orleans city flag. There is no other city in the United States that has as much French influence as New Orleans. The only other one in North America with this much French influence would be Quebec. They don't have an NBA team. You automatically know this is New Orleans uniform. The colors are bright. The fleur-de-lis scream Louisiana. And yeah, I think it's just an excellent special edition jersey. I'm going to put the Los Angeles Lakers at my number 4. I think the white jersey looks incredibly clean. I really appreciate the throwback colors with the modern word font. I also like that the numbers, because the numbers are centered beneath the word mark, the bevel is also centered. If you flash back to Miami, the numbers are on the lower left side of the jersey, so the numbers are tilted in. I think it's going to look really good on the court.
I'll go on with my number 4. I might have you share some of the history because I think you know a little bit more than I do. The Memphis Grizzlies. Love the trim along the collar. I like the side stripe with all of the different symbols, embracing their musical history in Memphis. And I don't know much about it, but I love the way it looks on that jersey.
So what I read was these jerseys are a tribute to Memphis native Isaac Hayes. He's a very famous musician, kind of known for his trademark sunglasses. I really appreciate the gold. There's actually a pinstripe pattern that's a little hard to see if you're not looking at a pretty detailed photo, but the symbols at the side are very meaningful. They are only up one side of the jersey. That is a theme I noticed this year. A lot of teams only have striping or patterns up one side of their jersey. Another example of this is Portland. Their stripes form a mountain range pattern, and it is only on the left side of the jersey.
Number 3, the Los Angeles Clippers. I loved their jersey last year, but I always thought it would look better with the white font and the black background instead of the black font and the white background. As is for most people, it reminds me of the game GTA San Andreas, and I'm glad they switched it up this year to be the white font on the black background. There's not much else to say about it. It's pretty much just a reverse of what they had last year.
Now, I have been on the fence about my number 3 and 2 for a while, so I think I'm just going to knuckle down and pick the Golden State Warriors as my number 3. There's not a lot new here, but that is 100% okay. They just moved into a brand new arena in San Francisco, but I really think it's cool that their City Edition jersey pays tribute to the city they called home for almost 50 years. It's the Oakland Forever jerseys. They're throwing it back to the We Believe Warriors era. They won a lot of championships when they played in Oakland. I mean, it's a really cool design. It was a cool design back in the 2000s. And I just like it a lot. I like the colors are simple, just screams Oakland. I'm all in on it. My number 2 coming in is the Chicago Bulls. I love the kind of Art Deco design. I think the font is unique and very Chicago. The pattern up the side, it's on both sides of the jersey. It looks really cool. And Chicago in the past is known for having a darker, like black gray alternative. I mean, we're all familiar with the black pinstripes. Those are excellent, I think.
To me, it just looks really classy. I don't know why. Maybe it's the font. They were also my number 2. So I'm glad we agreed on something. So this uniform was brought up earlier in our conversation. It's nothing that hasn't been talked about yet, but I have none other than the Phoenix Suns as my number 1 uniform. And as opposed to your opinion on the font, I actually love it. It makes it stand out amongst the pixelated pattern. If you just had it all blocky, I don't think you'd be able to read it as well. As Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer says, these are the bright future Suns, and now they have CP3, and they're going to be balling in these uniforms. I think they could be a playoff team this year. That's all I'm saying. They got really close as they could have possibly have gotten without being able to do any better in the bubble, going 8-0. All right, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I spoke briefly about my disdain for boring black jerseys, and I think these guys solve it very, very well. They added their colors and a bit of a gradient going over the shoulder with a bright orange stripe across the middle. And the one thing that just shot this jersey up to the top of my list is they do not succumb to what I like to call the corporate sponsor ruining a soccer jersey. It's a huge problem in Europe when soccer uniforms have a really interesting pattern or an interesting striping scheme, a really cool design, and then the corporate sponsor on a soccer uniform, unlike the NBA, is front and center. And sometimes they'll add just a black border, and Oklahoma did the same thing by just putting a small border on the word mark and superimposing it on the jersey. And also, if you look very closely on the back, the seams wrap around and provide a really perfect border for the blue gradient coming off of the front. It's really clean. I love the font of both the word mark and the number. It's just excellent.
All right, everybody, that's our top 5 for the NBA City Uniforms 2021. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, of course, leave that like and subscribe to the CJ Flyer YouTube channel. Also, go ahead, check out SayPrzybyla. He's the best Call of Duty Warzone player I know.
You need to meet some more Warzone players.
All right, and to all my ballers out there, let's get that bread. We'll see you all in the next one.